Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Now, look, people have been asking, hey man, Bitcoin is decently high. It's around 59 to 60,000. Why are the coins kind of dipping down and why are they decently low? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be similar to yesterday's video, but this is still very important. And if you're new, you must listen to this. Look, the reason why coins are lower than, they were maybe like last time around when Bitcoin was around 59, 60,000, is two things, okay? So, number one, right? If usually the way it works is when Bitcoin crashes, like let's say 10%, altcoins will go down, let's say an average of 15%, okay? Now, let's say Bitcoin recovers 10%, altcoins might go up, 7 to 15%. Now, here's the thing, right? This doesn't happen like this range pretty much happens to say every time, more or less. So let's say in one instance, Bitcoin drops 10%, 10%, 10%. So three times, right? So then we're going to have minus, let's say 45% because it's minus 15% each time, right? In the other scenario, Bitcoin goes up 10%, 10%, 10%, right? Three times. But in this case, one time it goes up 7%, one time it goes up 15%, and then the other time it goes up, let's say, 11%. So now here we're down 45%, and the other time we are pretty much down 11 plus 15, which is 26, plus 7, right, which is 28. So now we're up 28%, right? But if we take away, pretty much 28 minus 45, we are about what? 10 is 38, 12, 17. We are still down minus 17% from the total, from where we initially started. And when this happens multiple times, time and time and again, right? Let's say Bitcoin is consolidating, going up, like whatever is happening, it does have a compound effect. Now, that is just how it is, right? And a second factor, which I talked about, is the Bitcoin dominance, right? When last time Bitcoin, let's say here, was 59, 60K, and then even here, when was this? Late February was the first time, around $60,000, right? Let's see what the Bitcoin dominance was in February. So the Bitcoin dominance was, wow, look at that. Pretty much the lowest it's been in the most relevant recent time, other than early January. So what does that mean? Usually, most of the time under the right context, when Bitcoin dominance is down, but there's a lot of money in the market, that means altcoins are surging, okay? When, you know, there's less money in the market, but Bitcoin dominance is high, or even like, if there's little market, okay, if there's little money in the market and Bitcoin dominance is low, that's just because there's little market. When there's lots of money in the market, but Bitcoin dominance is low, that means altcoins are doing really good. When there's lots of money in the market and Bitcoin dominance is high, that means altcoins are struggling. And pretty much what we talked about yesterday is when this flips, right? When Bitcoin, let's say, hits 200K and the dominance was, let's say, at 70%, and then Bitcoin still holds around 190 to 200K, but the Bitcoin dominance is at 55%, around that time is when altcoins are really going to surge because there's so much money in the market. Bitcoin is holding, and the wealth is pretty much getting transferred. So usually that time is where you're going to have altcoin surge, and the second time is when the dominance starts, let's say it goes from 70 to 50% dominance, and then Bitcoin drops from 200K to, let's say, 170K. But since the dominance drops so much that it's okay for Bitcoin to drop that much, that might also result in an altcoin pump. But usually it doesn't last long because usually once Bitcoin, let's say, breaks structure, as we've seen previously, right? This is pretty much what happened the first time around. This is what happened the first time around, right? Bitcoin was super, super high, but the dominance was starting to get really low or much lower, so altcoins really surged. Then altcoins went down a little bit, and then some went a little bit up, and then some had their second higher pump, right? Which was when pretty much Bitcoin started to die, when it went from pretty much 60K to around 45K in a week. And that was the second period, because then after that, when Bitcoin started to tank even more, altcoins really, really started to dump quickly, anywhere from 50 to even 80% within the month. Hope you guys understood that. If you didn't, look back at it, listen again as many times as you need to. It's why altcoins aren't doing the best right now. Bitcoin dominance is really high. Bitcoin is doing decent itself in terms of the numbers, but in terms of dominance, Bitcoin is pretty much near the highest it's been in the last relevant time. Last time we were near this was when pretty much altcoin season was going to happen soon, many years ago. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys listen, and I'll talk to you guys next time.